Welcome back for Hour 2 of the starting lineup. Always a sure bet here on 102.1 The One. I want to remind you, too, that we've got great social media channels here you can follow. If you follow us on Facebook, 102.1 The One, you'll see a lot of our interviews broken out and into their own little podcast versions there. It'll be a nice little story write-up, and you can check that out. So follow us on Facebook and get all the latest interviews you might have missed. Again, starting lineup brought to you by Marshfield Chevrolet, Played Against Sports, Citizens Bank of Rogersville, and Swing Right Golf. I am Scott here. Ned Reynolds has had to step away for a second, and we are joined by also
Art Hains.
Good morning, Arthur.
Good morning, Scott. How are people going to get to those places if you don't tell them minute detail of how to get there?
GPS. We have GPS now, which is your friend. Ned is back with us now. And also on the line with us is one of our old friends, the former head football coach of the Missouri State Bears, back with us for the first time since he went on to coach Coastal Carolina. We welcome in Coach Ryan Beard. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How we doing, man? I like another Christmas morning, getting to get on with you great fellas and talk some ball, talk life, man. I'm fired up to be with you.
You look different in teal, not going to lie. Usually we had maroon on there. Have you adjusted to teal being your main color?
Well, my wife loves it. She says it brings out my eyes if you can get a good look. So I think that's helped Katie out. Anytime you step into a new color, it's an adjustment. But, yes, I've grown to love the teal and all of Teal Nation.
Ryan, you're pretty close to the ocean down there at Myrtle Beach. What's the difference between it and our wonderful country in the Ozarks?
Yeah, slightly different climate, We have palm trees in the end zone, which is a cool touch. I'm about 15 minutes from the ocean, which is nice. There's a place called Murrell's Inlet that has just ridiculous seafood. But I'm a Kentucky guy. I certainly miss the Ozark area, the beautiful lakes, the trees, the green grass. There's something charming in each of their own right, and they're both great places to be.
Hey, Ryan, this is Art.
Good Art, how are you? The legend himself.
I'm doing good. So what is your fan base there as far as the constituency for Coastal, given that you have other schools in the immediate area?
Yeah, Art, it's been a really cool thing. The people here are ate up with Coastal Carolina football, the Conway area, the Myrtle Beach community. Any restaurant you go into, any local establishment, they know exactly who you are and that you're our head coach, and they're asking about the team. They're asking about our quarterback battle, all those different types of things. They're truly invested in football here. I love it. It's been interesting for my family because they're not, as used to people coming up to the table and wanting to talk ball. And, I just got off. My kids were on the way to tennis camp, and I guess one of their friends this morning was like, "Hey, tell Coach Ryan we said hello." And they started calling me Coach Ryan, and I'm like, "Hey guys, it's Dad. Let's pump the brakes here a little bit. I'm not a coach of anything in my own house, but quite frankly, Katie Beard's always been the boss and still is. That hasn't changed."
Yeah, we do tape this, so you can play this back for her to reemphasize that as well, which will get you some points, I think. But
perfect.
Yeah, Ryan, take us back to had a groundbreaking season with Bears football last year, first year at the FBS level, first season in Conference USA. You guys go 7-5 in the regular season. I'm sure with what you had back, with the way things were going, you weren't looking to leave. Kind of tell us how the whole thing with Coastal kind of fell in your lap and how tough a decision it was for you at that time with a bowl game coming up as well.
Yeah, what a special year it was. I would be remiss not to thank the players and staff, because without great players with belief and they played their hearts out, I would not be sitting in this position right now without the players of the last 3, 4, really 6 years at Missouri State. So I want to give a huge thank you to them and the people that helped us along the way, the academic staff, the compliance, all those types of people and really the behind the scenes guys, the Missouri State Players Association, helped in a tremendous way, put on events, golf tournaments, and those types of things that put us in a position to be successful. Really our goal going into that season was just exactly what you said. Win weekly, trust our processes, and keep our head down and work. No, we did not have a vision of leaving at the end of that year, but the one nice thing is success breeds those opportunities. It led to, I think Jacob Clark should absolutely make the team with the Raiders. If not the Raiders, he should absolutely be somewhere in the NFL. We've got multiple other guys on NFL rosters that have been in camps. I think that's a great thing. And obviously, as things transpired throughout that season, we have a winning record. We're pretty highly ranked in the conference itself, have a chance to win it at Kennesaw. If we get it done there, you arguably have a chance to win the conference. And then our name picked up. Again, you earn those rights to be in those conversations. And we did it a little differently. I was fully transparent with the guys. I said, you're going to see my name in a lot of stuff, but that's because you did it. I sit there and I call the plays and I orchestrate things in the background, but it's also a tip of the cap to the players when those things happen. And we interviewed at a few different places and ended up trusting the vision and the administration here at Coastal Carolina because we were so aligned. They have a vision of excellence, and that's one thing that I've talked to you guys multiple times about is just that sense of urgency, urgency to be great, urgency to get the foundational pieces around our players that they need to be successful, and then the ability to be competitive in this new rev share era. That was one of the most appealing things about this job at Coastal Carolina. It was extremely difficult. I still have lifelong relationships with people that I talk to at Missouri State almost weekly. I know you probably don't believe that, but we've got group chats going with guys back at Missouri State that I keep in close contact with. Went to Derby with a couple that was impactful to our life at Missouri State. So I have extremely fond memories of Missouri State. I'm thankful for our time there, and I wish them nothing but the best. And I think they have a great coach in place that can get it done.
Ryan, when you embark on the Sun Belt Conference now, how do you, as a coach, even though you haven't competed yet, how do you feel about what you're going to expect, and will it be superior to what Conference USA had?
Yeah, hard to say superior. I think it's a great conference. I think that JMU has shown the ability to get into the playoff from this conference, which is nice. But Art, not Art, Ned,
that's
it's
right.
It's a great question, Ned, because you sit there and you go, we're so convicted about our processes that whether it's Conference USA, whether it's Sun Belt, whether it's AAC, Big Ten, SEC, when you believe in what you do to get yourself prepared for games and to put your players in a position to be successful, that's really what we're going to fall back on to make sure we're competitive in this conference.
So, Ryan, how's the team shape up this year?
Really like the team. When we first got here, we had some serious turnover, and a lot of that was by design. I think we just needed a little bit of fresh breath within the program, and that happens a lot of time during transition. We wanted to get guys that fit our program, fit our culture, and fit the vision that we have that we want to see on a day-to-day basis in the office, as well as the product that we want to see on the field. So I really like the way the team's shaping up. Shout out to Wyatt Wheeler and Ryan Collingwood. I figured if they were sitting in the meetings with me, the first question they would ask every single week is, who's our starting quarterback going to be? And that's in everybody's mind. And I swear, I told Ryan the other day, I said I should have, by the end of when we had the Jacob Clark and Jordan Peugeot, QB battle, I should have just worn a sign that said, I do not know who the starter is.
Well, Deuce Bailey followed you to Coastal Carolina, as did Tristan Gardner, two of the Bears. How many in all went with you there, and what was that did it feel kind of like, did you talk to the guys you wanted to talk to, I guess, to go with you? And that's a tough decision in itself as well for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really challenging, and it's one of those things that I think it goes back to relationship. The way we recruited at Missouri State and the way we recruit right now here at Coastal Carolina, it's still relationship-based. They need to know their head coach. They need to believe in their head coach. And I think our job as the head of an organization is to put players in the best position possible that they think will get them to where they want to go in life. And we had multiple guys make the decision to come here to Coastal Carolina. And I'm excited to have those guys here with us, and we're excited about a bright future.
Ryan, you have on the schedule this year 4 teams who you have faced, including Arkansas State. They come in there. You owe them a little bit of a behind kicking, don't you?
Yeah, how about that? That was a tough game to sit at home and watch. That honestly, was one of the most challenging parts of the transition, was not being able to coach your guys, your team in that bowl game. I understand the reasoning, but still as a competitor and a guy that's still your group, that's your guys, that's people you fought with and, gone through a lot of things with. And that was a challenging game to watch. The guys competed hard. I was proud of the staff, the players. So, yeah, I'm certainly excited about that one.
Well, Ryan, what were the reasons that you couldn't coach that game?
Well, there's a lot of things that go on when you transition into a new role. And I think on both sides, administratively, we came to the decision that it was the right thing to do, because once you become the head coach of Coastal Carolina, you need to get to work. Sure. And again, as much as I love Missouri State, as much as, those 6 years meant to me and my family, I was at that point the head coach of Coastal Carolina. It was my job to start evaluating the roster, evaluating the pieces we needed to move forward to get ready to go compete in the Sun Belt Conference.
Talk about your facilities there at Coastal. I know you've got a brand new indoor facility. I'm sure you've probably been in that a time or two in the humidity, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the indoor is tremendous. We've got a great nutrition program here. Still building certain types of areas, but the foundational pieces are here. You can walk right across the street, get into the indoor, get out of the elements. You don't miss practice time. You don't have, some of the inefficiencies that we struggled with at times. And I think that's a huge help. And it becomes really, it's all about the players. How can you get the players to focus when you need them to focus? And if that's getting them out of the elements for a day, then you have to do that. And again, this is a beautiful campus. I hope you guys can come out and check it out at some point. It's a lot like Missouri State when you see the beauty of campus, the new brick buildings, and you always see construction. I think that's important on any campus you go to. You want to see the growth. You want to see the vision of the administration not just being talked about but put into action.
Your comment is very interesting there, giving us a chance to see that. Having said that, any chance of the two schools meeting each other athletically?
I'd love that. I actually I've proposed that to certain people, and I'm all for it. I think it would be, good for TV, good for our players, good for a storyline. And again, I have a ton of respect for Coach Casey Woods. I think he's going to do a tremendous job, and he's as competitive as I am. I can promise you that he would want to beat us by 80, and that's vice versa. So, and listen, guys, if he didn't feel that way, he wouldn't be the right man for the job, which I think he is the right man.
Art?
Ryan, how important is the ocean to your recruiting? Is that a factor?
Yeah, it's certainly beneficial. During our official visits, I think it's pretty unique. We spend 3 or 4 hours on the beach with their families, kind of looking, talking, bring our players out there to relax a little bit. You can't really get that view a lot of places. And I feel like that's one thing that we do well at, is basically showing off what you do best and why you're different, and that's certainly a piece of it.
Ryan, we were all kind of disappointed that your father-in-law, Bobby Petrino, didn't get the Arkansas job on the interim basis that he had, and a lot of reasons for that were out of his control. But he's now at North Carolina with Bill Belichick. Do you ever just want to go up and sit in on some of those meetings between those two and talk football?
I talk to Bobby about that all the time, just to be a fly on the wall, and just the wealth of knowledge in that room is incredible. I mean, between the Super Bowl wins, the college wins, the Heisman Trophy winner between Bobby and, the Tom Brady with Belichick. Some of the great offenses they had. I can only imagine how much football brilliance is within those walls.
And how far are they away from the grandkids now?
They're just a few hours, which is really nice.
Yeah.
He can come down and see the kids and relax a little bit, and it's been really good for the whole family, and it helps me too, because I can pick his mind about the ideas that they're doing at UNC, the things that Belichick does that we might be able to incorporate here. And Coach Petrino is just excited to be in ball. He's a football guy. He loves football, his family, and he's in a good place for it.
Ryan, your thoughts on the 5-and-5 rule?
I like it. I think it's good. I think it gives some clarity for everybody. I think it's one of those things that, when you're dealing with all the different waivers and you got guys playing 6-7 years, and even going back to managing your own roster regarding, how you recruit freshmen. Now you can let it rip, and if there's a freshman that you get on your roster that you think can play, let him play the whole time. You know, he's got 5 years, and I think that's advantageous for not only, you know, football programs, but also the student athlete themselves.
Art?
So, yeah, that's great insight. So, Ryan, I know you took a number of the assistants with you, too, including LD and Nick, both are the coordinators.
Yeah, I did. And I believe in cohesiveness. And being the head coach, everybody's like, oh, you know, we get the praise, we get beat up, all that different types of stuff. But it's about the staff. And if you can build continuity and you trust the people around you, I think that's what's most important because, again, I spoke about it earlier in the interview about our processes and how we believe that you create a winning football team. And those guys are a huge part of it. So I'm happy to have them here with us. And, you know, as you continue to rise, I get the question a lot, you know, how is the relationship in a high pressure situation? There's a fine line between business and personal. We don't let those mix when we're at the office, when we're talking about football decisions and what's best for our organization. It's about football, and they're under the understanding that, you know, we have to perform. And, you know, in years there could be some tough conversations coming down the line. You know, everybody talks about, can you be able to make those decisions when the time comes? The answer is yes, but I'm fully confident that we'll be able to get it done and continue our upward trajectory. So, again, anytime you can have people around you that you trust is a good thing.
Ryan, we certainly appreciate your time. We know you got a lot to do, and wanted to ask you, is your golf game any better? I mean, you're 15 minutes from all those courses in Myrtle Beach. Has it improved?
No, it hasn't. And, you know, that's a frustrating part. Now, there's two sides of the coin because I don't know if you want to have a head football coach that's super good at golf because that means he's not doing his real job very well.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, I'd love to think that I'm athletic enough to do both without a bunch of practice, but I think that time has come and gone. Maybe when I retire, I'll be able to at least get close to Katie. I did not say beat Katie. I said get close enough to be competitive.
So you're admitting on live radio that your wife beat you at golf?
Oh, in front of the entire country. I mean, she played golf at the University of Louisville, went to Q school, did all that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's cool because, again, I'm the vibe guy on the golf course. I bring the juice on the radio, a bad shot, okay, great shot, great job, all that stuff. That I'm there for moral support.
There's got to be somebody doing that, right? That's your role. Know your role.
That's right.
Yeah. Ryan, again, appreciate it. Best of luck to you and the Chanticleers this year and your teal colors. It looks like you've adapted well to it, and we wish you nothing but the best.
So good to see you guys. I appreciate your time, and all the best to all of us. You know, hey, shared success is real success. So go Bears and shots up.
Very good. Thanks, Ryan.
Well done.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan Beard visiting with us from Coastal Carolina. Timeout on the starting lineup. Back in a second. Welcome back to the starting lineup, and thank you for being with us. Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Puryear
and Art Hains.
You know, Scott, it's interesting to hear Ryan hasn't lost that enthusiasm at all, and you knew he wasn't going to. He's that kind of a positive individual, and then to wish the Bears so much good like that, that's great.
Well, and Art, I think you would agree on this, that when the news came that he was leaving, it was devastating.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was everything, he was a player's coach, he was enthusiastic, he was positive, he was a believer and success for them, and it was a tough hire. I mean, you had to find somebody like him, and I think they did in Casey Woods. They could have brought somebody else in here, an older coach that was maybe a little grumpier like us and things like that. And it's almost like Patrick Ransdell found the I got to go get this guy because he's like what we had. And what is the old adage in AD world that if you weren't very good, you hire the opposite of what you had. Exactly. And if you're good, you try to recreate what you've been having. It's been good. And I think they hit the nail on the head with that.
I absolutely agree. And the enthusiasm and, like Brian said, the juice that Casey brings everywhere he goes. Yeah, he's very much like him.
It's almost like they cloned Beard, isn't it, a little bit?
Very much, very similar, very similar guys. We're the old guys that you refer to. We're the ones get off our field,
get off our lawn. Yeah, he's got a chore ahead of him. We were talking. Phil Steele has them picked 6 out of 7 in their division in the Sun Belt, Coastal Carolina. That they've got 5 starters back on each side of the ball. I think they brought in 56 new faces, 38 transfers. That seems like a lot, but that's pretty much going to be just about everybody now, isn't it?
Oh, that's standard.
Yeah.
Missouri State's got a similar amount, I think.
And Phil Steele, Phil's got his power ratings, which is not how he thinks they'll finish, but how strong the team is. And he had Coastal Carolina 118 out of 138, the Bears at 133. And last year, I think he had the Bears at 135, and they finished, about 85
84,
or 90,
85,
in that range?
Yeah, so picked about the same place. I guess the big difference is you don't have Jacob Clark.
Yeah.
And that is a big difference.
Well, and if we had more time with it, Ryan would have gotten into that. But can you imagine, and I tell people this, what they accomplished last year with the 7-5 regular season, going to the bowl game, lose the bowl game, doesn't happen if Jacob Clark's not there.
No.
There's no question about it. It doesn't happen. And I thought it was interesting to say, too, that Ryan said, Jacob Clark belongs somewhere else. He belongs in the NFL. And he does.
Yeah.
I hope he gets that opportunity. And who knows, he may stay with the Raiders.
Well, and looking at the quality of backup quarterbacks in the NFL, there's a role there for him, if he can just hang on and get better and get his feet on the ground in the NFL there too. So anyway, we appreciate Coach Beard. He doesn't have to come back on and talk about, which was a very tumultuous time there for them with, that job's open. And that job wasn't considered one that was going to be open because Coastal was off to a good start. I think they were 6-3. And then lost their last 4, and they fired Tim Beck, and created that opening. And I know, Art, I remember when we started our show November 3rd, I think.
November 3rd.
Yeah, late November, we were kind of like, that may be one that comes after Ryan Beard.
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen, just weren't ready for it to be this soon.
Yeah.
But like he said, the success of the team brings attention to the coach, and that's what happened.
And you certainly can't deny the individual either. After all, this is a step forward, and he's young and has all sorts of aspirations to do successfully, and this will be just a stopping point for him, too. He'll be going somewhere
And
else.
He's near Myrtle Beach and the beach, and he at least doubled his salary. That's not a bad situation to put yourself into there either. So,
and I like teal.
Yeah, there you go. He looks good, and it looks like the Florida Marlins old uniforms. Remember when they were very tealish there too. So, Art, All-Star Break is here. You don't have to watch the Royals the next 4 nights.
Thank goodness.
Do they do any changes now over this break, or do they just let it ride the rest of the year?
I don't know much what they can do. Get healthy with some of their players.
Do you need to fire the manager?
I don't know what good that would do.
Yeah, it's not going to do any good at all, after all.
Big problem now is that Lugo and Wacha really have kind of hit the wall. Noah Cameron has fallen off, so the strength of the team, the starting pitching, has become a liability.
I'm of the opinion, Art, see whether or not you agree with this. Wacha is not long of tooth, but he's getting there, and certainly Seth Lugo has been around a long time. Would they, if you can get something pretty good for them, be pretty good trade bait?
Well, they'd trade him, but I don't know what you're going to get for him.
And, Art, I sent you that note about their salaries. There aren't many teams that are going to want to pick up $20 million and $17 million, to finish the class. Walker's an all-star, and how did that happen?
Because they needed a player.
Don't know.
They needed a player.
I was very surprised.
They had Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, but you want to have more than one.
Well, that there were a lot of places they could have gone and got another starting pitcher that weren't Michael Wacha. That kind of shocked me when you look at that, and of course all the additions and the snubs and things like that. But Art, Home Run Derby tonight. Will you be tuning in?
What's it on?
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. Your boy Jack gonna try to get some jacks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good to have him in there. And Jordan Walker's in it too, so it'll be interesting.
Art's reaction, it doesn't surprise me at all. Where are they? Where are you going to see it? What kind of nonsense is this that they're going through? You have to hunt everywhere to get these games. It is foolish, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, but it's kind of what's happened. It's
money.
We have to adjust. And, like last night, I'm trying to find the NASCAR race. And I literally have to go to Google and say, where is the NASCAR race on TV? Oh, it's on TNT and True. Well, I found it because I thought it might be a Prime deal last night. But, yeah, I mean, it's here, and we can either adapt or just not watch stuff, And if you're a sports fan, I think we had the thing back in maybe February or March that said if you were a Major League Baseball fan and you wanted to watch every game and every event involving baseball with your team, you'd had to have these 11 subscriptions, and from Apple TV to Prime to Netflix to everything else, and like Ned and I were talking in the first hour, we've gone from where we used to spend $130 to $150 a month for cable or satellite to spending probably close to $200 a month now on all the subscriptions we have.
Yeah, that's you guys, but this fixed income, that can be a major barrier, believe me.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're going back to the number of swings instead of the timed home run derby, and I think that's also going to keep guys from getting worn out over the All-Star break that are participating too. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's fair, and that's a good change.
Yeah. So World Cup down to 4. Your thoughts on that?
I think France and Spain tomorrow is the championship. I'd love to see Argentina or England win it, but I think France and Spain are the two best teams. And until last game, and this is still pretty much the case, Spain had allowed 0 goals in the tournament. So they gave up 1 in their last match, but France just looks awfully strong.
What's funny is we took a little day trip down to Indigo Sky with my wife and 2 daughters Saturday night, down and back, and they have a gigantic screen in there in the casino that sports fans gathered around, and the roar when Argentina scored the goal, it was shocking. It wasn't USA, it was Argentina, which shows you that how much people are still paying attention here, even with a non-USA Final 8.
To some extent, but maybe they had money on it, too.
Exactly. No sports book there, but, the gamblers, they probably, exactly, too. So, all righty. Well, hey, let's take our time out, come back, and talk with Coach Hawkins on the other side.
You are listening to The Starting Lineup, and we will return in just a second. And we welcome you back to The Starting Lineup, brought to you by Play It Again Sports, by Swing Right Golf, by Citizens Bank of Rogersville, and by Marshfield Chevrolet. Ned Reynolds along with
Scott Puryear.
And Art Hains.
Special guest on the line with us has got about 10 minutes to join us. He's down at a showcase event for recruits down in Hoover, Alabama. We welcome in Missouri State baseball coach Joey Hawkins. Joey, good morning.
Uh-oh.
I go through all that, and Joey froze up on us there. Let's see if we can get him back. He may have got a call. Wanted to bring he'll join us here in a second. I know he's there. Joey, hey, good morning. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm here.
Yeah,
good guys. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Saturday draft party in Jackson, Missouri. Caden Bogenpole. Kind of tell us the mood in the room and the reaction when he went in the second round of the Phillies.
That was pretty cool. Obviously Jackson's a small town and a very tight-knit community, and a community that's always supported Bogey when he was with us. So great turnout of his family, friends, a lot of his former high school teammates. Some of our guys were down there, and then my staff as well. So pretty special day. And then obviously just to see the thrill in his face and his parents' face when his name got called was pretty cool. So it was a fun day for our program and obviously for his family.
Joey, were you as surprised as the rest of us that no other Bears went in the draft?
Yeah, a little bit. But the draft was pretty unpredictable. Obviously you'll have some years like with Drake Baldwin and Spencer Nivens and Bogey where you got some slam dunks. Obviously you'll always have some guys that are on the fence when you're a program like ours and, just not picked this year. And, those guys that weren't picked will definitely get their shot here in the next couple of years.
So you get to keep Curry Sutherland and Max Knight.
Yeah. Obviously, from a program standpoint, we're we're thrilled to have them back. But our goal is always to get guys into professional baseball. I'm never one to step in between that. I support guys, whatever they want to do, whatever their signability is. And ultimately, they weren't picked. So for us, it's two really good players we're going to have back. And, for them, back to work and keep pushing as individuals to get their name called next year.
It's such a fine line for all you guys, especially Division I level. I'm watching the draft coverage on Saturday, and this guy was committed to Texas, he's gone. This guy was committed to Tennessee, he's gone. In the case of guys like Curry and Max, do you hold back those roster spots until after the draft to make sure that you have room?
Yeah, we did a little planning, that's for sure. And you'll have just got to try and be flexible with things. We always say June and July, things are always pretty fluid with those rosters, and just got to make sure you're on your feet and ready to react with whatever happens.
Joey, when did you get a commitment from those guys ahead of time that they'd return if they weren't drafted? Because they do have the option from a free agent standpoint.
Yeah, no, I mean, we knew they were coming back, and obviously I had a lot of conversations with them leading up to the draft just about what it could look like for them, and hearing what their signability is, all those things. So it's something that we're very familiar with. We deal with it every single year, and obviously guys could definitely leave our place and go in the transfer portal if they wanted to, but our track record over these last 5 years is pretty impressive of keeping all our top players.
So Joey, it's on to the next thing, and as Scott mentioned, you're at Hoover, Alabama for a showcase. What's going on there?
Just a big 17U tournament, and we got some kids that are verbally committed to us down here, so watching a little bit of them, watch some other teams from around the country, and the rest of my staff is out and about too, so we hustle pretty good for the month of July, and then we'll get a couple weeks off before school starts.
Protecting your turf down in Hoover, Alabama, right? Those verbals, yeah. Joey, talk about Caden, and I said on Twitter and wanted to see if you agree that the draft shows basically that college stats with an aluminum bat aren't as important as maybe we think they are. It's the intangibles, the measurables, things like that. Is that accurate with Bowie? Because you can't teach 6'6", 250 and can run.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is what we call underlying data. So just, things that are beneath your typical slash line in baseball. And obviously he's got a lot of things that project well at the major league level. And those are things that were always on his side, but things that he improved drastically while he was here. He was a guy that learned how to manage that strike zone pretty damn well. And pro clubs love that because it's a big part of our game. And then obviously he always had the ability to hit the ball hard. He started making more contact, learned how to play center field. So just a lot of things that don't show up in that, that batting average and slash line type stats. So he put himself in a good position, and he got a nice little payday too, and I'm excited to follow him.
Joey, prior to the draft, is it commonplace for his head coach, if the kid's going to college, to have conversation with any of the pro scouts in regards to where he might be drafted? And did that happen with you?
Yeah, I get a lot of calls. One, I think just because of my background in professional baseball, but two, they spend a lot of time doing character and makeup reports too.
Art?
Well, so going forward, you think the roster is pretty well made for next year, but now you're looking for the year after and the year after? Yeah, we're done for next year, and then you start working on our 27 class. We need to add some pitchers and then start chipping away at our 28 class. We can't start talking to those kids until August 1st. So Coach Jimenez and Coach Cliff have been hustling around, collecting a lot of names in that class, and we'll go to the biggest event of the year down in Atlanta, the Futures Games, to get a good look at the 28 class and start making some decisions on those kids.
Well, Joe, we know you got to run. Before we go, how was the food spread at the Bogey's party? Was it A+?
I actually had a nail in my tire, so I got there like an hour and a half late. So I was a little late to the food spread.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Hey, Joey, have fun down in Hoover. Find some more bears. Protect your bears, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, you bet.
Missouri State baseball coach Joey Hawkins visiting with us from down in Hoover, Alabama, where he is doing some scouting. Do we take a time out?
Well, we can stay here for
Okay,
that, yeah.
okay.
And so, you know, Art and I were talking during the break that you can't tell me there are 600 baseball prospects out there better than Curry Sutherland. I just refuse to believe it, and especially, you know, I'm watching guys that I don't know where that school is, or you know, some D2 guys. Now I understand that happens, but Arkansas had a pitcher go in the first round that didn't throw a pitch this year because he had elbow brace surgery last off season, and it just goes to show, doesn't it, Art, that it's about the measurables and projections, what they think those guys will become.
That's exactly it. More so than the actual production that they have shown. I mean, that's important, but they're looking, as Joey said, more at the underlying factors, the tools, the measurables there, and how they project.
And it could be that that's the case with Curry. It could be, and again, we're just speculating, that the pro scouts have said he can get better if he goes back for his final year in college. And it's going to be 5 years from starting this year. But the fact of the matter remains he not going to get any bigger probably. What is he, 6'5"?
6'5", 240. Yeah.
But his skills can improve. His judgment at the plate can improve. There are all sorts of variables that go into that. So it could be a suggestion that he stays.
Well, and I know Joey, you know, and he stated that, and it's absolutely true, that their goal is to get kids who want to play professional baseball into pro baseball. But I guarantee it, he's not exactly broken up over the fact that he's got a middle-of-the-order power hitter that hit 16 homers and drove in 54 runs last year, and then he's got a potential Friday game starter in Max Knight to go with the pitchers they brought in. That bodes well for the 2027 spring season for the Bears, does it not?
It dramatically changes things, or it would have to the negative had they lost one or both of those. But getting those two back, now you've got some of your key players that are back. They lost a lot, but Curry and Max will be big players on this next team, as they were this last year.
We were talking about the overall draft, and of course the UCLA shortstop Chalowski went number 1 overall to the White Sox. Only one pitcher taken in the first 10 picks, which is very odd. And then the Royals opt for a college outfielder out of Louisville. Were you surprised by that? Do they need everything, or do they need pitching more than position players? What were your thoughts on the Royals' first day draft?
Well, no, they need outfield help, offensive help, and this guy seems like he's an athlete, so they'll get both defense and hitting, and I think that's what they need more than anything.
Yeah, and does it seem odd to you guys, if I'm a major league general manager and my butt is on the line every year that I go up there with a team, I don't know that I can put a lot of stock in an 18-year-old high school kid over a kid that's played 3 seasons of college baseball when it comes down to those early picks. I mean, don't you think you kind of want to get him there sooner rather than later?
Well, those are a little more long-range picks when you pick kids out of high school,
yeah.
Sure. You're not going to see them probably for 2 or 3 years in the majors if things develop well. But I guess just depends on the individual situation of that team and maybe that general manager.
What was the average age of the player in the Futures game yesterday?
Probably 21, I would guess, if I had to. That, you know, and it was mostly guys that are AA and a few AAA. Yeah. But Art, did you catch any of the Futures game?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, they had the one Royal, Kendry Churio, that's
right
at high A, and I think he's kind of their ace in waiting down the road, it looks like. But Jesus Madej that we've talked about, the Brewers shortstop at AA, he's kind of the consensus number 1. But the arms, you know, Seth Hernandez with the Pirates and Cade Anderson, and these guys bringing it up there at 98, 99 routinely now. It's a different world pitcher-wise than it once was.
Did you see the little bit on Raynel Rodriguez? He's in there as a catcher, and in one inning, he faced 3 different pitchers.
Yeah.
Or caught, I should say, 3 different pitchers.
Just trying to squeeze all those guys into the game.
Everybody getting in there.
Yeah, exactly. And so Liam Doyle, a couple strikeouts in his inning. I think he was clocked at 99.7 or something on his fastball. So, but yeah, so a lot of guys coming. Time to catch your breath. All-Star game tomorrow night. I was telling Ned it's got a little bit of its luster lost by some of the guys that aren't playing and aren't pitching. I know that, fans would love to see Mizorowski. They'd love to see Paul Skeens. Cam Schlittler's now not going to pitch either.
Now, Arthur, you and I are more the same age, although I'm quite a bit older than you are. But still, does the All-Star game to you as a fan hold the same appeal?
Not quite, but almost. I mean, I love seeing the introductions of the players from the various teams, and then the game itself. I still love the All-Star game.
When I was a kid growing up, there was always the great mystique because you had the American against the National League.
Right.
And these were players, if you followed one in either league, that you didn't get to see on an everyday basis. Well, now they have interleague play, and you play everybody else. It's kind of lost its just a little bit to me, its luster and its appeal. And you're right about the intros. I went to an All-Star game, this is 1973, the first time it was played at what was then Royal Stadium up in Kansas City. Here's a little trivia for you. Who do you suppose got the biggest ovation of the players being introduced?
Who?
Henry Aaron.
Henry Aaron. Standing ovation.
It's a weird comparison, because I used to watch it with my kids a little bit, but the All-Star game is like WWE wrestling. I want to see the intro and the music and how they come in, then I don't really care after that. And the All-Star game's kind of the same way. I want to see the reaction from the fans, and there'll be some guys booed in Philadelphia.
Sure.
Whoever the Mets players are will be booed for sure.
And Braves.
And the Braves as well. I'm looking at the rosters, and it kind of emphasizes what we were talking about, guys getting up to the majors quickly. There's rookies and McGonagall's on there. Travis Bazzana is on there. These are guys that were drafted, 2 years ago, that 2024 class that has turned out to be pretty phenomenal. But there's a guy on here as a reserve, Tristan Peters of the White Sox. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you anything about him. And I follow it.
He's a kid who's really come on here in the last season to help the White Sox. But I think he's a substitute pick. I don't think he was.
He is. But you look at the White Sox. I know the Montgomerys, Braden and Colson Montgomery, the shortstop,
correct.
And all these guys, and then Tristan Peters. I thought that was the weatherman for Color 10 or news anchor, whatever he was. That's not the same guy, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not familiar with Tristan Peters, and they're in the Royals division.
Yeah, and I'm looking down the rosters. Everybody else, there's guys that if you went on the street and you found even quasi-baseball fans and you said, who's Otto Lopez? Well, he's an all-star. And
he's leading baseball in hitting.
Yeah. But there are a lot of people who be like, who? Ivan Herrera gets added as the fallout of all the guys that either, air quotes, hurt or just don't want to go. Zach Wheeler, how about your guy?
Zach Wheeler.
How about him saying no thank you?
He bows out because he was not originally picked. Then they said, hey, please come in. And he said, no thank you, I'm going to rest. A great move, in my opinion.
Years ago, reminds me, Ned, of Gary Templeton.
Same thing.
Who said of the All-Star game, if I ain't starting, I ain't departing.
and that's my problem with what Wheeler did. Wheeler could have just said, I need the rest. I'm not. Instead of, no, it's a slap in my face being the fifth pick.
Well, he could have used a different tact. I will tell you that. Incidentally, you mentioned the booing in Philadelphia. Do you remember who got the biggest boos during the draft?
Santa Claus?
No, it wasn't Rob Manfred, although he's not particularly popular. It was when he came out, the first pick by the Atlanta Braves, and the chorus was there.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was booing.
I can't remember if it was the first pick or what, but he butchered the name right out of the chute. Pronunciation of the name, and you're like, really? So. One thing before we go to break, I don't know, last night was kind of a graveyard of TV watching for sports fans, and I flipped over to the WNBA game on NBC for a little bit. I think it was Las Vegas and Indiana with Caitlin Clark.
I saw a little bit of that.
this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but she brings on a lot of the stuff she gets, Caitlin Clark, with her approach toward the officials and her attitude toward every call that doesn't go her way. It's kind of getting a little tiring. Would you agree or not?
Yeah, I would.
I mean, every time there was a play last night, and I don't know if you saw any or not. But
I did not.
She's trying to. She can't guard me, and she's trying to guard a girl going down the paint, and there's a bump, and it looked like one of the soccer injuries where somebody's about to die on the field. She goes down in a heap. She didn't even get hit hardly, and she gets up, and her first thing to do is complain to the officials all the way off the floor how it wasn't a foul. There's a part of me just wants to say, hey, Caitlin, you're the best thing going in the WNBA. Just shut up and play. Quit putting your arm. I think her dad told her that one time, didn't he, at an Iowa game? Remember that? I think it was NCAA tournament.
Yes, her dad did.
Yeah.
Called her over and said,
her dad from the stands is like, just shut up.
Yeah, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, so anyway, but I think she could do herself a lot of good if she would just do that. So let's take a timeout.
All right, quick timeout on the starting lineup and back in just a second. And we are in the stretch run for the starting lineup for this Monday. What do you have over there?
A couple text items from the text line. Again, 417-447-1021. Reminder that Drake Baldwin is starting for the NL at catcher, the former Bear. So congratulations to Drake Baldwin, last year's Rookie of the Year in the NL. Wacha leads Major League Baseball in quality starts. He's up there. It's actually Sandy Alcantara and Christopher Sanchez have 14 quality starts. Yamamoto, the Dodgers, 13. Wacha's in a group of 12 with Sonny Gray. Michael McGreevy in that group with quality starts as well. And
Wacha leads the league in innings pitched also.
Does he? Okay. So it's an Iron Man award for him to go, basically, then, right? So, and then somebody just said, I agree with Scott on Caitlin Clark. Okay. I just think she needs to, just be a star and quit trying to beg for calls. She's got Sophie there to protect her on anything that happens. So if anybody gets physical with her, Sophie Cunningham will come and point at her, across the.
Now, I'm not into the UCF stuff and Conor McGregor and all this sort of thing. I think that was she the sign mistress?
Sophie?
Mm-hmm.
I think she was. I saw, did you see that, Art? Sophie Cunningham, one of the ring
girls?
Round ring girls or whatever, ring round girls they call them.
I didn't see that, but I can see her doing that.
Yeah.
I think she was. I think she's the one who carried around the round 4, round 3, those cards.
At the White House?
No. At the
out in Vegas,
Conor McGregor's fight on Saturday.
Oh,
was that in Vegas?
Vegas, yeah.
It
T-Mobile
was. Yeah,
Arena.
because that would make sense because they were playing out there too. So.
Oh, well, that's
yeah. So, Art, are you a UFC guy? Did you pay attention to the McGregor injury and short? It was almost like B.J. Flores fighting Cruz Quintana at the Shrine Mosque in terms of length of fight.
Well, that one sticks in your mind, doesn't it?
Well, it's because it's the only fight I've ever been to that lasted just a minute in boxing. Well, got hit in the ear and I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Where's my paycheck?
But my young son's into the UFC thing, and they were all disappointed it didn't go longer. But
was it a minute and a half?
Minute 9, I think, was what official time. But basically, I think they think he blew his ACL out with that kick attempt on the very first one he tried. And, hats off to his opponent in a sport where you're there to bludgeon the other guy to death. He backed off of him and said, hey, he can't go.
Another incident yesterday that was a very positive in the Sinner-Zuriev match. Zuriev went down with an apparent cramp in his knee, and Sinner went over and helped him up.
That's
I thought that was great. Great sportsmanship in tennis.
I help you up out of your chair in the mornings.
Every damn
exactly.
morning. Yeah. All right, out of time, gang, out of time. Great having you with us on the starting lineup, and we will be here tomorrow for All-Star Tuesday. I'm Ned Reynolds.
Scott Puryear.
Art Hains.
Thanks for being with us, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow right here.